Bahrain.
Okay, stay out.
Not really sure what he was trying to do with that.
Hello and welcome to Formula One's Media and Technology Centre. We're in the hangar where the flatbed trucks, which normally house the broadcast centre, are getting ready for the F1 experiences and Paddock Club guests and, of course, the drivers' parade itself. We're back from the drama in the desert of Bahrain, so let's get on with the F1 Weekend Debrief. And we're back in F1 TV's Remote Operations Centre. This room handles all the information and data from the track. So there's plenty for our engineering guru, Rob Smedley, to analyse. Rob, what a race it was.
Great weekend, brilliant race for Formula One in general. You know, it was Charles's weekend. He dominated from start to finish. Lewis had it all to do, and he did it.
Well, he did, and let's get straight into the story, shall we? And it was a heartbreak for Charles Leclerc. And let's relive his race with some camera angles and team radio you haven't seen before. Let's start at the start, appropriately enough. And from pole position, Rob, he gets a good getaway, but why does Sebastian Vettel get away better?
Well, you can see that the grip is much better on that side of the track. You know, Vettel and Lewis get away much better than their teammates who are on opposite sides of the track. And there's a clear explanation when you look at the throttle trace as well. I think this one tells us the full story. So if you look there, you've got the dotted line is Sebastian.
Okay.
And
solid line is Leclerc.
And the solid line is Leclerc. And you can see Sebastian's throttle trace right the way through from when the lights go out all the way up to when he's full throttle. Is much smoother. Charles starts off with slightly lower throttle position, which will give him slightly lower revs, when the car probably doesn't get away as well at that point, so he has to put in a load of throttle. He then gets wheel spin, he backs out of it, and he goes back into it, and eventually he gets to full throttle much later down the straight.
Okay, right. So is that something that Vettel was that experience on his half? Will Leclerc look at the throttle trace like we have and just think, oh, you know, I need to be much smoother like Seb was?
Yeah, there'll be a few things going on there. I mean, one of them could be tyre conditioning, tyre temperature. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sure that they've done starts at the end of the pit lane on the laps to the grid. There'll be a lot of stuff to look at there, and I'm sure that Charles and his engineers will be going through it afterwards. Okay,
well, Charles wasn't behind for long, was he? And then we got this radio message as he was closing on Vettel.
Up quicker, guys.
Copy. Stay there for 2 laps. Stay there for 2 laps.
Well, pre-race, Ferrari team boss Matteo Binotto had said we will let them race, but that sounds like a sort of hold station instruction, was it?
Yeah, I think it was, but I think it's sensible on Ferrari's part. You know, their job at that point as a team was to get away from the Mercedes behind and open up that gap to get them out of undercut threat. And that's an entirely sensible decision. You know, if they're squabbling and fighting between each other, that's not going to happen. So they just wanted him to hold station, see if Seb could pick up the pace a little bit, and they could both get away.
Okay, well, Leclerc did hold station, but not for the 2 laps he was told to. After 1 lap, he saw an opportunity and he went for it. And this was a lovely move.
Look how Leclerc is gaining on Vettel, passing Vettel, into the lead goes Charles Leclerc, but has he gone too deep? Has he gone too deep? No, just gets back onto the racing line ahead of his teammate.
And now it's Vettel who'll get the DRS down into turn 4. This is a proper race.
And
nobody's yielding at all.
And from then on, Charles, of course, Rob, gets on with building his lead. We go through the first pit stops, don't we? It's obvious that it's going to be a 2-stop race. But then as we get to the second pit stops, or just after them, we see this fantastic battle, and we hope will be the first of many between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, but one that doesn't end well for Sebastian Vettel. Let's go through this quite carefully, shall we? So they both made their second stops, but Hamilton is quicker behind Vettel at this point.
Yeah, he's clearly got the legs on Sebastian at this point. He catches him up. and it's clear that he's going to have a go. He's already tried once, and then he kind of sends it one way in turn 4. Sebastian tries to defend down the inside, and what's happened here? Sebastian's he's offline. He's on the dirty line. He's got tailwind. He's in the wake of another car, and more importantly, he's on a much tighter radius now. And when he's trying to get the throttle down, it's gone around on him.
Yeah, because if we look at it from the rear-facing camera, from Hamilton's car, looking back at Vettel, we can see there's no clip or anything. You know, Vettel just gets completely sideways. I mean, he said on the radio he was surprised by Hamilton. Would there have been a bit of dirty air? Would Vettel been a bit of turbulent air,
absolutely.
And that would have sent him round?
These cars generate so much downforce, and because of that, you know, even with what we're trying to do with the regulations and the 2019 front wings, there's still a huge amount of weight that comes off the cars, and that's got to have had an effect.
And then, of course, to add insult to injury, the front wing comes off. Do you think this was vibrations from the flat-spotted tyres, or had he damaged it?
I don't know. I mean, I think that for it just to be vibrations is they'd have to be quite strong vibrations in a kilometre or whatever he did. So there's probably some damage gone on at some point, and then the vibrations have exacerbated it. Okay,
another spin for Vettel after Monza, after Japan. Is this him cracking under the pressure, or just got a heavy right foot?
No, I think that he's just got caught out by a situation. I mean, I don't think you can call that cracking under the pressure. It's the tiniest of mistakes. If you look at his throttle trace, probably compared to the lap before, it was, you know, there'll be the tiny microns of difference, and that makes all the difference in Formula One.
Okay, well, out front, Charles Leclerc was on course for his first win in Formula One, but then a radio message that nobody wanted to hear.
There's something strange with the engine.
Okay, copy that. We are checking it.
There's something strange with the engine. What's happening?
Whatever's happening, we're not hearing about it. I hope that man there, the team principal at Ferrari, Matteo Binotto, has an answer for him. But he's getting agitated, he's getting concerned, and in a few moments' time, he's going to start to see the silver arrow of Lewis Hamilton behind him.
Well, Ferrari on the team radio talking about MGUH, the energy recovery system, but it was effectively an engine problem. But when you have an issue like that, as a driver, as an engineer, what do you do?
Well, you've got to get the emotion out of it immediately. You know, that's the first thing. So take the emotion out of it and start looking at what the problem is. Start to understand from the telemetry very clearly what the problem is, and then start to look at resolution, start to look at solutions of how you're going to get the car to the end of the race. Okay, well, with a problem like that, it was inevitable that Lewis Hamilton was going to overtake Leclerc for the lead, but there was a little bit of luck in a safety car for the two Renaults conking out towards the end, stopped Max Verstappen from overtaking Leclerc, so that was at least a little bit of a silver lining.
So Lewis Hamilton down towards the final corner, takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. They started behind Ferrari, they finish ahead of Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton wins the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Get in there, Lewis.
Well, guys, that was extremely unfortunate for Charles. He drove such a great race. We've got work to do to try and keep these guys in our tails.
I think we always need to see the positive event if there is not much, but we had the pace today. Yeah, we probably have, or I probably have, some lucky stars from up there because the safety car at the end. Yeah, we have been pretty lucky in an unlucky situation, let's say like this.
Yes, I agree. And you have the fastest lap.
Copy. Should I go to the grid? Well, I can't remember. What do I need to do now? Never been in this position. I think they will make me sign, right?
Follow into the pit lane.
Okay, sorry guys, it was my mistake. I got surprised and lost the rear, and then I couldn't catch it anymore. Really sorry. And not sure, but what I saw on TV, I'm really sorry for Charles. please tell Xavi that he drove an excellent race, very strong, and he should have won it.
Hi Seb, Mattia speaking. Next race will be the best one. Don't worry. You did your best and you did a fantastic race. Mistakes may happen. It was difficult.
Well, two things from those team radio clips. First of all, Leclerc's response to losing the race, and then Mattia Binotto putting his arm around Sebastian, figuratively speaking. What did you think of that, first of all?
Well, I think that, you know, Sebastian's had the most difficult weekend. You know, our hearts go out to Charles with losing that maiden Grand Prix victory. But Sebastian's, you know, been on the back foot all weekend, and that's just Mattia doing what Mattia does really well. You know, he's looking to who probably needs him the most at that point in time, and as you say, putting his arm around him, he needs it. And
that's Vettel who needs him more, because Leclerc's response to losing the race was, well, what did you think of it? Very mature.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, this is a great insight into young Charles. It's amazing, really, and I think that, you know, that shows real team leader characteristics. That shows a leader of men, not just. I'm not just talking about Grand Prix drivers. You know, when you're able to rationalise real disappointments like that, put them in perspective, and to keep everybody else upbeat. You know, what he was doing there on the radio was he was keeping the whole team upbeat, and I think that's an incredible attribute at his young age.
Yeah, the age of 21. What, you're saying he's like a sort of Schumacher figure, saying to everybody in the team, they'll all be listening with the headphones.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can tell you from my time there, you know, that's what Michael was very good at. Michael was, you know, very good at all that behind-the-scenes stuff of keeping the team motivated. And you have days when the whole team, when you've got all 900, 1,000 people, whatever it is, they're particularly down. But when you've got, you know, key figures in the team like that, we're able to pick them back up and say, come on, boys, let's dust ourselves off and let's get on with it. That's a real fillip for the team.
One of the biggest attractions in Bahrain was actually in the Formula 2 paddock, Rob, where Michael Schumacher's son Mick was starting his first F2 weekend racing for the Prema Power team. And, well, amazing to see. You do get the odd moment where he just looks like his dad, doesn't he?
He looks surprisingly like his dad. I remember when I hadn't seen him for quite a few years, about 2 years ago, and then he come up and shook my hand, and I was kind of taken aback with how much he looked like his dad.
Well, he certainly had an eventful race, firstly in the feature race on Saturday.
Zhou has got so much more speed, but Schumacher's got the inside line, so this could get pretty hairy. Schumacher maintains the position for the moment. And Schumacher has managed to get past. He's up to 8th. So it's Latifi, Giotto, Sete Camara, Hubert, Delatraz, De Vries, Aikin, and on reverse grid pole, Mick Schumacher found a way to get past Nobuharu Matsushita. It's points on debut and tomorrow on pole.
Well, Mick's up against some much more experienced rivals in F2, hasn't he? But that was a lovely bit of Schumacher defending against Zhou there.
It was, yeah, as you say. I think he's learned something of his dad there. You know, he's got the car up the inside, and then he's just timed it perfectly just to defend that move.
And that meant that he was on pole for the race on Sunday.
And you're looking at the poles sitter for today, Mick Schumacher of Prema Racing. He is a fantastic talent, and after that great last lap that you just saw yesterday, he finds himself at the front of the field. Schumacher moving from the line. Aikin has got a good reaction as well, but it might be De Vries who goes there. Immediate Schumacher chop across Aikin. Good start for Delatraz as well, but it's Schumacher who leads down into turn 1. He defended that nicely. Aikin trying to go around the outside in the orange Campos. Here we go, this is for the lead. Schumacher ahead of Sete Camara, but will it stay that way? He's not defending right now. Giotto trying to take third. Schumacher down to second. It's Giotto, Sete Camara, Latifi, Zhou, Delatraz, Schumacher in 6th.
So 8th on Saturday, 6th on Sunday. What do you think Mick will have learnt from the Bahrain weekend?
Huge amount. It's a big weekend for him. These are more powerful cars. They've got more downforce. He's mixing it with much more experienced drivers, especially in this category. So, you know, there's only positives that Mick can take out of this. OK, well, from F2, it was into F1 cars, and Mick Schumacher was in a Ferrari. The Schumacher name back on the side of a scarlet Ferrari in the test yesterday on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, he was in the Alfa Romeo as well. And so Mick is obviously part of the Ferrari Young Driver Academy. What will they want to see from him in this F1 test? Well, they just had a weekend's racing in Bahrain, so they've got, you know, two really good benchmarks in Sebastian and Charles. and they're just going to be having a look at Mick and see how he compares. You know, he's still young, he's just getting into powerful cars now, powerful cars with a lot of downforce, and they're just going to have a look at him for the first time, really.
Okay, so they're not expecting him to beat Charles Leclerc's pole time?
I think if he beat Charles Leclerc's pole time, they'd be very happy about that, but I don't think they're expecting it.
And this week's test also sees the return of Fernando Alonso to Formula One. See, he wasn't gone for long, wasn't he? He's in the McLaren Pirelli test car. So what's he looking at helping Pirelli for, what is it, next year's tyres? And then do you think McLaren want him to give his views on this year's chassis as well?
100%, 100%. I mean, they've obviously made great strides with that chassis. It's a lot quicker. We've had the proof of that in 3 circuits now. And they'll want Fernando's opinion on that. You know, you've got one of the best drivers in the world there to get the opinion. At the same time, as you said, you know, as we picked up on, he's going to be testing tyres for Pirelli, and he's going to be giving feedback to Pirelli on you know, what they need to be doing with this year's tyres, next year's tyres.
And as always, we want to know what you think. Any questions or points you want to make? Do you think Charles Leclerc is a serious contender for this year's World Championship? What about Sebastian Vettel? Or will it be Lewis Hamilton going for 6 world titles? Send us a tweet, put the hashtag F1 Weekend Debrief in there, ask anything you want, and we'll get round to answering it. And this week's question is from Paul, who wants to know about Mercedes' strategy. Rob, when they pitted Hamilton first of all, why did they put him on the soft tyre, which he seemed not to like particularly? And how much did Mercedes win the race through good strategy, as much as Leclerc lost it through unreliability?
Well, I think there's some really interesting points in how the strategy played out. And, you know, the tyre choices that Mercedes went into the race with, they're really interesting as well. So if you look at this first stint on what we've got with the race trace now, you can see that the light blue line is the Mercedes of Lewis, and then the red line is that of Sebastian. So Sebastian is tracking ahead in that first stint. Lewis is able to keep pace with him, but not able to do anything with that. And then the crucial part is in that first stop. So as the trace goes down, that's Lewis making his first stop. And when he does, he puts on the soft tyres. So crucially here, Mercedes had saved a set of qualifying tyres from the day before, and so they had a brand new set to put on in that stint. They put on that set so that they could get the undercut.
So this is the undercut. This is Hamilton going faster on that new set of tyres than Vettel's able to, because he's on an older set of tyres. Hamilton's just coming round the final turn as the Ferrari pit crew execute a very nice pit stop indeed. Medium compound tyres going on to Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton goes past our commentary box at a rate of knots. Vettel at 80 kilometres an hour. Hamilton has got the jump on Sebastian Vettel by performing the undercut, and it's Hamilton now ahead of the Ferrari.
You can see that Sebastian reacts to that and he comes out behind. So they do actually affect the undercut. And I think that was a great piece of race strategy from the Mercedes team there. What then subsequently happens is Lewis is much less happy on those tyres. He gets front graining. So he's back past, and then let's accelerate to around about lap 35 on the trace, and you can see that again Mercedes undercut there. So again they get the jump on Ferrari. Ferrari have to react. But what happens is he doesn't quite get the undercut on this occasion, but he does come out very, very close, and that probably leads to that tussle between them. And then eventually you see that big drop in the trace, which is Sebastian spinning and then having to pit for a new front wing and new tyres.
Right, a couple of other stories that caught our eye in here. Lando Norris capped off a great weekend for McLaren with 6th place ahead of a charging Kimi Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo behind him. But listen to this rather panicked team radio message towards the end of the race.
What just happened? I think something's wrong with my brakes. Things happened to my brakes.
Okay, stand by, keep going for now. Stand by, keep going. Okay,
I can't control what it does.
Okay, keep going for now, mate. Keep going.
So what do you think that was? Couldn't have been properly brakes, because he had brakes to hold off Kimi Raikkonen for a couple of laps after that.
The mechanical and hydraulic system of the braking system was absolutely fine. There was possibly a problem with the brake-by-wire system. You know, we don't really know. What is clear is that the lad's done a fantastic job. You know, he's 19 years old. It's his rookie season. It's his second Grand Prix in Formula One, and he's dealt with that adversity. You know, and he's got the car back to sixth position. It's a really fantastic job.
Can Lando Norris fight off Kimi Raikkonen? Raikkonen's going to have to go the long way round here. Norris parks that orange McLaren in exactly the right place, kept the more experienced man at bay. But this is young and old, dueling on the track here in Bahrain. Norris is under pressure once again and holds off Kimi Raikkonen once again to keep that 7th place.
Great job again from Lando Norris after his superb qualifying in Australia. And points for another rookie, Alexander Albon, the Thai driver in the Toro Rosso as well. So he was battling Danny Kvyat for more or less the whole of the race. They were on different strategies. I think Kvyat got into some trouble with his tyres as well. But it looked like a bit of a planned move that Toro Rosso put Albon ahead of Kvyat here. But still, all credit to him. P9, couple of points. Yeah, no. Again, he's done a great job, you know, and it's great to see the midfield so mixed up at the minute. And you know, you've got young drivers like Alexander, you've got young drivers like Lando who are taking the opportunities and bagging them. So, you know, good job again there. Okay, good stuff. Next stop, China.
Daniel Ricciardo came from absolutely nowhere.
Clinical moves. Big push, big push.
Amazing.
What happened at the start? Oh, seems like a torpedo.
Well done, mate. Easy pickings.
Yeah, let's bring it forward to Shanghai, China then, shall we? And what do you expect to see there? Cooler temperatures than Bahrain, that long back straight, more Leclerc versus Hamilton versus Vettel versus Bottas?
Difficult to predict that one, I think. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a great shift between the cars from what we've seen average across Australia and Bahrain. The main thing that you've got to look out there, you know, the main thing that the engineers will be trying to do is to get the car set up for those long right-hand corners, because they really start to destroy that left-hand front tyre. You pick up what's a phenomenon called graining, and you lose a lot of grip on that tyre around turn 12, around turn 1, 2, 3. So, you know, that's going to be the big challenge for all the teams. Okay, but Ferrari were kinder on their tyres in Bahrain than Mercedes, weren't they? Even though it was a Mercedes 1-2 in the end. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're getting out of it. But I think, you know, we need a bit more of a picture. It's very difficult to draw a conclusion after 2 races. I think you need a few more races under our belt, and we'll get a picture of who's good on the tyres. And it's not just who's good on the tyres. It's who looks after the front, who looks after the rear. Anybody who looks after the front in China is going to be in really good shape. Okay, well, that is the checkered flag for us. Really looking forward to the Chinese Grand Prix, the 1000th race of the FIA Formula One World Championship. And we'll be back after that Grand Prix with more analysis. But for now, Rob, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for you to watching, and goodbye.
Okay, sorry guys, my mistake. I got surprised and lost the rear. Really sorry.
There's something strange with the engine. What's happening?
We have no H recovery.
Yeah, but I can't. Oh my god.
And keep calm. We need the car home.
Yes, I will try. I'm keeping calm.
Max, we don't need donuts on our race box.
Finished in P6. P6. Well done, mate. Points on the board.
Yes, boys. Good strategy, guys. Made a couple of mistakes, but yeah, very happy.